Hello, this is Mike McCurdy. I'm back for another video, and today we have a little bit something different we're going to do. We're actually going to go through and edit and show off some of your photos that you guys have sent in for us to edit. Again, we'll go into some of the reasons why we're doing this, but before we do that, if you like our content, we would love to get subscriptions below. Seriously, we'd love to have more subscriptions below. Again, just click on the subscribe button. It's not that hard. And we would love to, like I said, have you spread the word around. Let us know what we're doing. Let us kind of know how we're doing it, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Again, let us know in the comments below. We would highly, highly appreciate it. So with all that said, today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be editing your photos. Several of you sent in multiple photos for us to edit. Some of you guys sent them in RAW format. That was the best way to send them. And some of you guys sent them kind of through Facebook, and they're a little bit compressed, but we went ahead and had some fun with them anyway. What we want to do is just kind of showcase what processing can do with photos and see how different people interpret your photos. So let's get the rules out here. This is not a critique in any way. We are not critiquing your photography. We are not critiquing the way you edit. Basically, this entire video is about how I would edit photos. And yeah, some of you guys will find some of the things I do a little bit strange, but that's just what I do, and I'm probably not gonna change. But I want you to see how I would edit a photo, my thought process behind how I would edit your photos. And again, this is not a critique in any way. You guys do great work, great photos. You guys do some fantastic editing. This has nothing to do with you and the way you edit. It's all about me. That sounds bad, but you know what I'm talking about. We're just here to have some fun and let me edit some photos and show you how I do it. Cool? Cool, let's go. Now I'm ready to do some photo editing. So you guys have sent me in several photos here. I got a ton of photos. We can't edit every one of them. So we're gonna get started here. First of all, we'll go through and we'll take a look at what we got. So Greg actually sent me in some photos. Thank you so much, Greg. He sent me in some photos of, I'll show you, it's right here. Got this beautiful, basically it's a stream with a little bridge over it. Now Greg told me in this photo here that he actually put the tripod down like on a little goby, and he stuck it down on the ground, and he really couldn't center it and get it the composition he wanted. So basically just snap the shot and just pray for the best. So in shots like this, you can actually take time and make these photos look really good. So let's just see what I can do with it. Again, I'm sure Greg has already modified this a little bit, but let's just see what I can do. And again, this is nothing against anybody else and how they edit. This is just how I edit, and I want to show you what I do. So I do a lot of my work in Photoshop, and the reason I do this is because there's multiple things I can do that I can't do in Lightroom, and one of those is masking, and masking is everything to me, just the way I can do it. Sure, there's some things you can do in Lightroom to do what Photoshop does, but you don't get quite the control you get when you're working in Photoshop. So with that, let's go in here and I'll show you what I mean. We'll fit this on screen. I'm gonna take his, I'm gonna actually make a copy here. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just gonna focus on this back area. You can kind of see my cursor moving around here. I'm gonna focus on just this. So what I mean by this is I wanna get this all nice and green. One thing I do is I love using Camera Raw filter. I know, call me old fashioned, but I like to come in here and just bring up some shadows, bring down some highlights, and remember, I'm focusing right now on this back area here. So I'm just trying to get this bridge to come out and pop. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of dehaze on it to make it really stand out. There we go. And I don't wanna take all that fog out of there. I kinda like that. Another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna green it up a little bit, put some more green in there. I'm also gonna adjust the green a little bit, maybe some of the yellows. There we go, making it look a little more contrasty. So there we've already made some minor adjustments. Let's go and make some more. Another thing I like to do is always highlight what the subject of the photo is. In this case, it's the bridge. And it's the bridge and the water and some of the hills around there. So how I'm going to do this is I've got my two copies here, and I'm going to take one of these copies and I'm going to basically brush So you're gonna see here, I'm gonna make myself a mask right here. And I'm gonna knock this flow down just a hair. So it's not super, well, I'm gonna leave it at 100% right now. And I'm gonna brush in this area here. You can't see it here, you can actually see it. So I'm just gonna kind of brush it in around the bridge, make a nice little oval, probably about right through here. And you'll see why here in just a second. So this gives me a little bit of a mask, and I can come in here now and control what's underneath this. So I can actually create a non-destructive layer here. And I can actually control now how bright that spot is. I can actually control the contrast as well. The neat thing is I can do the same thing on this top layer here. I can create a non-destructive layer on it as well and create this here, and I can watch this. I can lower the background around that bubble I basically built. I can also increase the contrast, just kind of make it look a little bit more moody. And there you go. Looks pretty darn impressive. Now, I'm not done yet because my mask here is a little bit too even and too good. So I want to spread that out a bit. So I'm gonna go back to my mask. I'm gonna click on this layer here, and I'm gonna adjust my flow down to about, I don't know, 20%. And I'm gonna come back in here, put it on black, and I'm gonna just brush in a little bit more around this bubble. Oops, I read the wrong way. There we go. So I'm just gonna brush it in so it kind of evenly tapers off around this. See it slowly, so it's not so noticeable. There we go. See, I'm looking at, now what I'm doing is I'm paying attention just to right here as I'm dehazing this a little bit. And I'm also gonna bring down the contrast. There we go. Just brought that down a little bit. There we go, this should pop in. There we go. Now it looks a little bit not so foggy back there. Looks pretty slick. Last but not least, I'm going to collapse all this. I'm going to take it back into Lightroom to finish up a couple of things. So we're going to save it. Go back into Lightroom. Here's my drawing, and what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to level it. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to level this, and I can see my verticals. See my verticals going through the bridge? That lets me kind of know what I'm leveling. So I'm going to level it up like that, and I'm going to hit OK. Look at that, just automatically straightened it up. Get a little bit better there. Not too shabby. I'm going to zoom it in, make it more of a 5x7, just a hair. So we get more of the water. Now, one thing I did notice, I love this leaf over here. So see this area over here? I like that a lot. So I may actually move it more over here. Look at that. I love it. And the last thing I will always do to a photo such as this is I will take it into one of my favorite programs, Color FX Pro. Now watch this. Color FX will actually take my photo and it'll do modifications to it that I tend to like. One of those modifications you'll see here in just a second is it does a tonal contrast. Look before and after. But look at the water. I'm mainly going for the water. So watch this. I'm just gonna put the features that I saw in the preview into the water, just by kind of dabbing it in there. May put it on this leaf here and may just put it right there and right there. Everything else I'm gonna leave alone, and I'm gonna save it. So that tonal contrast just gives me a little bit of a pop. It kind of gives it a 3D look. So last but not least, let me go back to the photo. And there's our finished product. It's not too shabby. Here's our before. There's our before photo of what Greg got. And again, this is Greg. He hasn't edited. I haven't seen what Greg has edited, but this is the before shot, and it kind of looks okay. It looks good, but look what you can salvage from it, just from that one shot. Did a little bit of cropping, moved the bridge around, straightened it up, added some contrast into the photo, and boom, there's your photo. So very, very impressed with how that looks, and we'll move on from there. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. And Greg, love to hear what you have to say as well. The next photo we have involved here is with Jordan. So Jordan is actually a friend of ours. Here we go. Jordan has actually worked with us as a model in several of our photos. In fact, you can see some of the billboards around here. You'll see Jordan standing there. But she's worked with us a lot, and we just recently did her wedding as videographers. So we released the trailer just recently. You'll see it the YouTube channel here below. And I think it looks pretty slick, but that's Jordan. So here's Jordan. She sent this to me, see what we can do. And I want to show you what I think I can do with the photo to make it look just a little bit better. In my opinion, of course, you know, just my opinion. The first thing I notice whenever I'm looking for photos is I'm trying to get people to look at the face. And the first thing that distracts me when I look at this photo is all the material and the patterns on her blouse. So it kind of draws you to right in here or so. And I really want to be drawn to her face and her eyes. So one thing we'll do here, I like to do, is I will first of all try to get some of this green cast. I don't know if you can see it. You may not be able to see it in the video. There's a lot of green cast in this. That's just color cast from around her. So what we'll do is first, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna pull out pretty much all the green in this photo. Give me a second here. So here goes all the green. Just kind of pull that all out. And yes, I'll put some of it back in, but for now I don't want that. I want to try to make her more to the colors that she naturally is. She's not green. So we're going to come in here and add a little bit of blue, probably add a little bit of magenta back into it, just a hair. There we go. Now we're looking more like Jordan. So with that said, this is kind of before and after. So looks more like her. Maybe a little bit blue, but I'll fix that in a bit. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to focus on removing some of this look, this busy material. And how I do that is I'll actually take this photo and I'll gauze it. Basically I'll put a Gaussian blur on it. And I do a really, really small, probably about 1.5 or so. Just enough to just enough to blur it out. That may be a little too much. There we go. So I'll take some of that out of there and see I just blurred the entire photo. I did that on purpose and you'll see why. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to brush out or brush in the Gaussian blur. So I'm going to bring this back up to about 100% so I can bring it in and bring in just around her face. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm bringing in a nice brush, just trying to get the outline of her hair. So I'm brushing all that in. I'm going to brush in a little bit of her hand and her neck just to show that off. There we go. And I'm probably going to do a little bit down her hand here. I'll show you what else I can do. Go down her hair. So with that said, I'm going to modify the underlying or the top layer, and I can actually make the top layer a little bit darker. Again, I'm trying to focus on her face, and typically what you tend to focus on in a photo is something that's bright. Your eye is usually drawn to something bright in a photo or something symmetric or with lines and such. In this case, the whole picture is pretty bright. So we want to draw your attention to her eyes. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lower the background. You can see here, I'm taking it a little bit lower and put a little bit of contrast into it just to make it stand out. I can make it softer, or I can put a little contrast. I like the contrast. Bring it a little bit there. There we go. And now it looks like she's got a farmer's tan. Yeah, I don't think she has a farmer's tan. So how are we going to fix that? I'm going to go back here and you can see where we've brushed. See this here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to adjust this flow down to about 12%. Put it on black, and I'm going to brush back in this area here where she has the farmer's tan to make it blend. See, just make it blend down her arm. So it doesn't look so sharp, but it gives it that look so it doesn't look like it's something wrong with her arms. So there we go, that's that. Last thing I want to do is I'm going to focus again on her face. So I'm going to collapse all this here. I love Photoshop. I'm going to collapse all this, and I'm going to go back into Photoshop here with the background layers and everything else. And I'm going to focus one more thing on her face. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go in here and make this a little more vibrant just to bring out that pink. You know, that pink needs to pop. There we go. Bring down some of the highlights. And all I'm gonna do is I'm going to brush that pink back into her face. Bring this up a little more. I'm gonna just brush in that pink area just to make it pop a little bit more. There you go, Jordan. Pretty cool. So that's what I'm going to do with this photo. I'm going to collapse it and I'm going to save it. Now we can go back and we can look at the before and after. Here's the before, and looks like a great photo. But you notice you kind of now, after I probably mentioned this, you're kind of looking at the busyness of her blouse and the after. This one now we're actually focusing on her face, on her eyes and her hair. So it kind of makes it a nice distinction between these two photos. So again, tell me what you think in the comments below. See if you like that. Again, this is just something I'm doing quickly. I would take a little bit more time on this. Probably would have made that more black behind her. Take out some of that blue, but anyway, that's what I would do with a photo like this. Tell me, Jordan, what you think in the comments below. You'll see I do a lot of things the same. I like to bring out to the front what the main subject of the photograph is, and you'll see me do a lot of this with vignetting. Another thing I didn't tell you yet is I love vignettes. I didn't do that in the other photo. Give me a second here. So watch this. You can come in here and put a little bit of a vignette on there. And I think that really makes it pop as well. Yeah. Now remember, let's go back to Greg's photo. I forgot to do this. So on Greg's photo, look at this. Now watch this. If I come back in here, and I'm a big, I know it's crazy, but I love vignettes. Just do a little bit right there. Now look at that. That's a photo. I forgot to do that a while ago. I do a lot of vignettes in architectural photography. It kind of takes away from the sky, and it takes away and it focuses your subject and what you're trying to focus on. So anyway, so I got another photo sent in to me by James. So this is the photo that James sent. Great photo. Just what can we do to it? I think he took this with a Canon camera. So what can we do to make this photo? If I was editing it, what would I do to it? The first things I would do is I would actually go into Lightroom. Everybody says, oh, Mike, you're actually using Lightroom for the first time. Yeah, I'm gonna show you I can do Lightroom. So first thing I would do is just some of the base stuff. I definitely would bring up the shadows on the water because I wanna see that water down below. And I may bring up the exposure overall just to see it a little bit more. Sometimes when you bring the exposure up, you get too much brightness. So that's where you can actually tone down some of the highlights to give it back that look that we had. So basically shadows up, highlights down. That's just one of the themes that I do a lot of. I actually like the greenery. I like the colors in this. So I'm not gonna do much to it other than raising it. One thing I will do is, and this is where I think it gets easier within Photoshop to do, but I will come in here and use my HSL to probably go ahead and bring up a little bit of the greenness. See, and this is where I like Photoshop, because when I bring the greenness up, look what happens. The trees get greener, so does the water. And I don't necessarily want to have green, moldy water. So I'm probably going to take this into Photoshop and do some of my final edits here. So this is where I would actually come in here and make my greens a little bit greener. So I come in here and just green up those trees in the background, maybe take some of that yellow to the greens. There we go. Kind of like this, but see, look what it did to the layer down here. You can see before and after. It's not a lot, but it's enough. In fact, I want to take some of the green out of the water, mainly in here. So let's try something here. I'm going to duplicate this guy. Let's bring up those shadows a little more, and let's take some of that green out of them. Again, I'm looking at just the water. Oops, and I'm also sliding the wrong slider. I'm looking at just the water, taking some of that green down. Yes, I want the trees to still be green in the water, but see, now we're getting more of a blue tone here. So I want to see a little bit of that. There we go. And in fact, I may bring some of my blues up just to show that off. Boom, right there. So the sky is pretty. It's kind of plain. So I'm gonna maybe play with that in a little bit, see what we can do. So another thing I'd like to do is just show you how to really quick take it to another program. And this is one program I just love. It's kind of my secret weapon. It's not really. You can go buy it yourself. The program is called Luminar 4. It's been out by a company called Skylum, and you can check in the comments below if you're looking at it. But check this out. This is a great photo, but look what happens if I take it to Luminar 4. What I want to show you mainly is, check this out. I come down here, go under the creative toolkit. Look at this, AI sky replacement. Check this out. Want a new blue sky in there? Boom, blue sky. The cool thing is there's no frizzing. You'll see, look at this. It goes in there really nice. Look at it behind the tree. There's no, for now. The frizzing you're seeing is, I think this photo is kind of a low res photo. I can't tell, but bottom line is I can take it to a dramatic sky, whatever I want, and it does a great job. I'm so impressed with this program. Check this out. I can come in here and I can put, a galaxy back there. Woohoo! So you can pretty much do whatever you want to, put a sunset photo. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, wait a minute, those are pre-packaged photos. They are. Check this out. I can actually apply my own sky images too. Now, in my line of work is we do a lot of outside photography with architectural firms. We do it with realtors and landscape artists. To do this, we got to have beautiful skies. They don't want to have rainy, muddy skies, but sometimes they're under a crunch and they have to get it done. So we provide sky replacements, and we do it. We do it from time to time. We'll replace the sky if we need to, just so we can get that shot and make it look good. So one thing we do is I've always collected sky photos. You can see some of the sky photos I have here. I literally have about probably over 1,000 photos of the sky in different shades, different times of day, bright, blue, whatever. So I even got sunset photos. If you want some of these, let me know. But I've got some beautiful sunset photos, whatever you want. But in Luminar, I can come in here and say, I like this one right here. And I can plop that right into my program and boom. It gives me a nice, beautiful, soft sky that I can play with. So now I can apply that to my photo. Does it make my photo look better? It's up to you. We can find out here in just a second once I finish processing it. So now we go from kind of a photo looking more or less like this, and this is a great photo, but we can actually add some more stuff to it, just make it a little bit pop. The extra clouds, actually, I kind of like that. It's beautiful, beautiful blue sky without them, but I kind of like the extra clouds in there. We also brighten up the water a little bit to make it look like that's where I want to jump in and swim. I think the other photo looks a little murky. Again, this is my opinions. This is not a critique of anybody's work. This is just what I would do to the photo. I would replace the sky. I like that look. I like the soft clouds up there. It just looks like a nice summer day to hop in the water. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below on this photo as well. Thanks so much for actually going through the entire video and sticking with me through all this. Again, we hope you enjoy videos like this. And if you want to see more of these, please subscribe below. Let us know in the comments what you think about the material and show others what we're doing. We would highly appreciate it if you kind of spread the word around. And you fellow photographers out there, if you want to see me edit some of your photos, send some to me and I'll put an email address down below. So thank you so much for joining our channel today. We really hope you enjoyed all this material. We hope you had a good time watching us edit these photos, and we will see you in our next video. Thanks very much, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.